Can I see it?
No, the QR, if you'll scan it.
QR code is make sure you'll have it at least ready. Let me compose it.
Okay.
थोड़ा pre-commit कर लेते ना. ASCII.
Okay.
Cool. Ready?
Yeah. Okay. Hi. So I'm Bhaumik. I have around 3 years of experience. I work around front end, back end, infra, and also mobile sometimes. I like mobile a lot. So yeah, I'm going to speak about the topic is mentioned here. I don't need to say it again. So yeah, like how to basically we can leverage GitHub Action to deploy our infra as code. So yeah, I'll go deeper onto that. So how many of you have actually worked on something like this before, like React, Angular, Vue? Yeah. Okay. Or Vue, Angular, React, anything? Yeah. Or anything like this, Spring Boot, yeah. So I mean, this talk is basically relevant for all of you. So whoever has worked on any of this, because, so basically, what happens to your code when actually it goes, what happens when it gets deployed, or like how exactly that happens. So like I'll give a deep dive on that. So I mean, like you guys must have seen this thing, right? So I mean, in this talk, I'll focus on code, build, and basically deploy. How these things work generally in most of the projects. So for that, like first of all, we need to actually initialize a project. So I mean, yeah, I have put the screenshot because I have actually initialized it. So I have a React project here. It is a basic minimal project that you get initially. So it has a basic template. So okay, how to do that?
Command plus plus.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, here we have a basic React code. This is irrelevant. It can have anything. So suppose I replace it with something like test, right? So I mean, generally all of the code, like how exactly it works. You write some code and then you build the code. You don't actually deploy your code itself. So I mean, like in most of the JavaScript project, you have a build command. Like for in this case, you have beta build. So I mean, if I run npm run build, so it is going to basically build my project, and like the this folder actually it override it. So this is the actual thing that actually goes, not your entire project. So now, I mean, we have a static React project, right? Now, how exactly we can deploy it? So I mean, I'm going to leverage S3 here. So S3 is basically like a service in AWS where you can deploy static assets, right? So technically, any of the front end project, whatever you have, like it actually turns out to be JavaScript, CSS, and so technically you in any kind of client side rendering, that is how you approach it. So I'm going to create a fresh S3 bucket here. Okay, wait, it is not logged in now. Just a second. I will log in first, so that yeah, security purpose. So yeah. So yeah, I am logged into my AWS now. Okay. Okay. So I'm here. So if I go to S3, I go to buckets. Now if I create a new bucket, let me name it as test get together, whatever. Now let me just create it without doing anything. Okay. So yeah, we have a fresh S3 bucket. So I mean, as I mentioned, the dist folder is something that is your build. So I'm going to upload my dist folder. You can also drag and drop. So I'm going to go to my, okay, wait. Okay, so here I'll go to my project. Yeah, so these are my files that I'm going to upload. Then I'll upload my folder. Okay, so here basically I've uploaded my dist folder manually. Like so first I created a S3 bucket, then I uploaded it. It's normal, right? So now how exactly do we serve it from from AWS? Like, can we directly access those assets? I don't think so, right? So AWS has an option for static website hosting. So basically you can enable it. and then you can write. So the entry file here was what? I mean, index.html. So, I mean, that is what you're going to use here, right? And then let's have it as it is. So, I mean, it has given me a URL, but it will not be accessible at this point of time. It is going to give me an error because there are some policies or blah, blah, blah that you need to configure actually. So let's do that. So first of all, there's something called permissions. So every bucket has its own policy. So basically you need to allow, your objects to be accessed via publicly so that, people can access it. So I can have, here I have bucket policy. So let me ask Copilot to generate it. I'm quite lazy. Okay. So I have Copilot here. So what should I say? Yeah, give me an S3 bucket policy for static hosting. Let's see what it gives. Okay. So yeah, this is a policy that has been given to us. Let's try this. Okay. So we also need to replace it with the bucket name. So it is the bucket name. So this is a normal policy. So it is going to allow, get objects. So get object is basically anybody can fetch those objects. Now I save my changes. Okay. Okay. So now, we have this error. So this error is basically because we have blocked all the public access from here. So you cannot technically have that. So let's uncheck this. So what exactly is ACL? So every bucket object have an ACL like access control list with which you can basically control at that object level. So we don't need that. We need something on the overall bucket level. So let me have that here. Yeah. Now I have my Now I have my bucket policy that I'm going to edit right now. So this was the policy that was there earlier. Now paste it. I replace with the bucket's name. Okay. Save changes. Okay. Now it is saved. Now if I go to my URL, right? Okay. So I have my site here. But yeah, this process was, I mean, what if I would have missed something, right? I mean, it is very common. I missed something, right? I forgot to click unblock. I forget to add policies, right? And I need to remember a lot of things to do this, right? And each time I deploy a new site, I again need to do it again and again. So all this was actually to explain what exactly is the pain point to do it via, manually via your AWS console. So now let's come to the elephant in the room. What exactly is Infra as code? Can anybody answer?
We can configure the infrastructure via code and deploy it and update it.
Yeah, I mean, technically like that only. So, I mean, there are multiple ways basically with which you can access your AWS assets. So, first of all, basically AWS console that we did right now. Then using AWS CLI, you can do it. It's a CLI you can install and then you can do something. Then there is AWS CloudFormation. So here is where Infra as code actually starts. So, I mean, with CloudFormation, you can write your YML files and, your entire infra using YML files. And then you can basically use that to deploy your infra. But according to me, anything which answers what is Infra as code, not how. So basically, what was the problem with AWS CLI is, if I want to, create an S3 bucket, right? I will tell AWS CLI to create a S3 bucket. I will not tell that there is a S3 bucket, right? Same goes with AWS SDK. SDK is a software development kit. So using that, you can write some code, but it again, you need to give it verbs, not nouns. So these are nouns, right? So basically, you have a Lambda function. You have these many configurations. So this tells you what, not exactly, how to do it. So that is managed by AWS itself. So I am going to use actually AWS CDK in this talk, and I'll also tell you what exactly are not supported in CloudFormation and why AWS CDK might give you more extensibility when it comes to using it. So I mean, let's go. So I've already configured a project. It is again a React project. I have some basic stuff, assets, blah blah. This time let me add something using CDK. So basically CDK under the hood uses AWS CLI. So I mean you need to configure, you need to do AWS configure here before using CDK. So it basically asks you your access keys and secret keys and whatever it is. So this is what you actually do with everything. You know, you also do with normal AWS CLI. And where exactly you get is you go to IAM, and there you basically create a new user here, and that is how you get your access keys, and then you configure it here. So if I go here, I had actually created a user. So I'm using its secrets here. Like the entire thing is same, the normal React folder. The only thing which is different here is I have an infra folder. So this is where exactly my CDK is, right? So in my infra folder, I've defined what exactly do I need, to deploy it. So I have so the entry point to to CDK is basically my so this entire code was written by AI. I didn't touch anything. So I mean I asked it to create me a simple stack and something. So I mean I have so this is the entry point, and here I have infra stack. So so technically what happens is your AWS CDK under the hood uses CloudFormation only. And one CloudFormation template is basically one stack. So that is how it works. So I have one stack here. Now if I go to the code, so here exactly where is my code? So what exactly I have? I have an S3 bucket here. So I've defined S3 bucket. This is like using TypeScript. I don't need to use YAML. And there I have written configuration like the entry point, then public read access. I don't have the policy document here, that long one. It is not needed. So under the hood, like AWS CDK manage that for me. Then I have block ACL, the list that I unchecked. So this is exactly what it is. Then for access control, so basically if I need to push this, the user that is there in CDK need access to it. That is why I've enforced the owner full control. Then this is something that is not supported neither by AWS CloudFormation nor by anything else. So basically what this does is it makes a deployment, a bucket deployment from my local project to AWS. So if I want to do this using CloudFormation, I actually need to have a AWS CLI script, that actually does this for me. This is only supported in AWS CDK. And this actually, so whatever, URL that you saw, this is actually prints that URL. So CFN output is basically, that is going to print it. So let's, yeah, sure. Yeah. So again, most of this code is generated by AI. So I mean, that is also one of the advantage using infra as code technically, because I cannot. So the console like layout, if you see, it changes very often. If you see some old documentation, you might not know where to click, right? But infra, the code will remain the same. You can also use generative AI to kind of interact. What exactly? So I can ask to create a Fargate cluster. I can ask to create a S3 bucket, whatever, and it will create it for me. Yeah.
This bucket access control. Do you have to provide any kind of environment variable, like such as like you will need some kind of access code, right?
So I mentioned I have that AWS configure command. So there I have provided my access key and the security key. So that is all which is needed. So the same goes for AWS SDK, same goes for AWS CLI. So that is what it use. Yeah. So I mean the IAM role that it has should have access to do what exactly you are doing. So that is why for this talk, so this was the user that I created. So I gave it admin access for now. Yeah, just to test it. So basically here I have my infra code. Now let's try to deploy this. So I have CDK deploy. Okay, what exactly it does? Okay, CDK. Okay, I need to go to the infra folder actually. Okay, now I run CDK deploy. I already have the build folder. Otherwise, I would have to run npm run build. Or let me just do it anyways. So I have npm run build. So this is going to generate a build. Then I am going to sudo. Okay, this is a okay. So yeah, it has created a build for me in the build folder. Now I'm going to cd into the infra folder. So if I show you here, so the infra, like CDK has its own package.json and everything, like you have. It's like a normal JavaScript project. So CDK supports many languages. You can use Python, Go, TypeScript, JavaScript. Yeah. So now I'll do CDK deploy here. Okay. So when I do CDK deploy, yeah. I guess it's clear. Yeah. Okay. So I mean it is. So I'll explain what are these steps.
Yeah, this will come to
Okay. Okay. So I mean this is where it is. So before CDK actually generates my set, it gives me the list of things that it is going to do, right? So I didn't had any stack in my cloud up till now. So it is going to basically create a bucket deployment, create a S3 bucket. Then CDK also under the hood uses AWS CLI. So as I mentioned, there are some operations that are not supported with CloudFormation. So it uses CLI as well as CloudFormation to do it. And yeah, it creates an IAM role to perform those operations. So yeah, I'm going to do yes. It takes some time. For then, let's go to AWS and let's see what's happening. So if I go to CloudFormation, okay, so CloudFormation is also, I mean, it's an AWS service. So if I go here, yeah, so I have Infra stack. So Infra stack is the same name that I had given it. Basically, let me put it down. So yeah, this name is basically reflecting here. So it is basically having all those resources that I mentioned there. So this is the bucket that is going to create. Let me go to S3. If I'll go to S3, okay. Yeah. So yeah, here I have a bucket. So there's one more thing about CDK. So here, wherever I have created my bucket, here I haven't given the bucket name anywhere, right? So this is also a good thing about CDK. So basically, if I like anytime you create a S3 bucket, right, it has to be the name of the S3 bucket should be unique globally. Like if anybody in the world have created S3 bucket with that name, you can't do it. So CDK actually gives me a random name. Like, so whenever I do it, like you see this thing, so it gives me that so that it doesn't fail. So it has created the S3 bucket for me. Now let's see what's going on here. Okay. It is deploying. Okay. 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 In the meantime, did anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Do you know about AWS Amplify?
Yeah. It's a service.
So the same thing is done on that too, but like we have to just give it.
So basically, AWS Amplify.
It automatically creates the S3 bucket for that.
So again, if you need to, configure AWS Amplify, how will you do it?
We can give our own made build commands to it. It have
No. I'm saying if you want to configure AWS Amplify, how will you do it?
configuring what term?
I mean, it's a service in AWS, right? So it might have some AWS configurations, right? The service might have some name, right? It might have some memory or whatever configuration. How will you do that, right? So I mean, again, so you need to go to the console, and the UI might also change with time, right? You access the documentation, something else have happened, right? So this is actually to give you, to give you the support over the infrastructure, not exactly what the service does. So AWS manages, but again, and it is replicable, right? You can actually, I can change my access keys, and it will get deployed instantly to my different environment, right? So here is my URL. So if I hit this. Okay. If I hit this URL, let's see. Okay. So I have my here. So let's also check the S3 bucket that has created. So if I go to properties, here you have seen it has some tags. And then, the bucket hosting is enabled. Now if I go to permissions, you see the same things are already configured. I have this thing also. I didn't need to do anything, right? It is all automatic. But still, whenever I go to my project, I need to build it, then I need to deploy it. Then, this takes time. No one has that much time to do it. So, that is where, GitHub Actions come to our help. So, basically now let's try that part. So, I have already created a sample file. Again, this is also like built by Copilot. I haven't done anything. So, I mean here, what I'm going to do is let me edit the file a bit. So let me write GitHub Actions here. Okay. And here is my deployment pipeline. Let me push the code, so because it takes some time to run, and I'll explain in the meantime. So I have GitHub Actions. Okay. So this is my, if you guys are wondering what is DC, so this is my alias in Git. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, it is pushing to AWS. So in the meantime, let me explain what's here. So it's simple. So this thing is like, which branch am I going to do thing? So on push to master branch, this is going to execute. Then again, like as the previous speaker talked about it. So I need an environment. So I have Ubuntu here. Then I have, it uses Node.js. And then it is doing npm install. So I mean, generally, it is all the processes that you are going to do when you are going to have a GitHub repo on GitHub. You are going to first of all clone it, then you are going to npm install whatever it is there, and then you are going to generate the build as we did. And then yeah, this is an interesting part. So basically, how do I manage my secrets, right? I cannot technically hard code it here. Anybody can get it and do anything. So GitHub actually have that support. So if I go to GitHub here, and if I go to my settings, and here if I go to secrets, actions, right? So whatever secrets you write here, so I have already configured this. You can access in the GitHub Actions using secrets variable. So that comes quite handy. So here I am, I'm setting that those envs, and then I'm going to the infra folder. And yeah, again, so infra folder also is a JavaScript project, so it need to do npm install there. And then basically, so this thing is basically, as you guys saw, when I did CDK deploy, it was asking my permission, right? So this thing is to get over it. Now let's go to our actions file. Okay, so this is running here. Okay, it's on the last step, thankfully. So so it has done. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's complete. Where is the URL, man? Okay, complete job. Yeah. Where is the URL? I can't see.
Is that? No, that's GitHub.
Post checkout, CDK.
Now it will be the prefix for it.
I guess, wait, let me check this thing. Deploy CDK. Deploy CDK will have yeah, here I have the URL. So this is again an SC URL I deployed via GitHub Actions. Now let's think about something more interesting. So I mean, you guys might have seen this diagram, right? You create branches, and then those create more branches, right? So technically, if suppose I just don't need for one branch, right? I need for every branch. So suppose if I have 10 developers, I need them to have their own sandbox environment. So whenever they push, I can basically, any manual tester can go to that link, or they can themselves go to that link and see what's happening in the cloud, right? What exactly happening in the deployment side and everything, right? So I mean, every stack, right? Every developer need to have a new stack, so that that thing doesn't clash. Otherwise, it will override the same thing. So let's try something like that with GitHub Actions. So here I have my project. So first of all, I need to basically deploy my project for all the branches. So for that, I basically use star here, or I guess, yeah, like this, I use star. Okay, so this is then now it is going to run for all the branches. Or if I want to give some specific branches like master staging or something like that, I can also do that. Then I also need to access the branch name, right? Because technically, how will I identify what exactly is this, right? And somehow I need to use that. And also I need to access the branch name here, right? Somehow, because otherwise if I'll override the same stack, people are going to have the same environment, right? So if I pushed and someone else again pushed, it is going to overwrite my changes, right? And everybody is going to have the same URL if that happens. So I mean, for that, what I'll do is I will make the stack name as a function of the branch name. So I mean, if I have something like branch name, yeah. So let me have branch name here. Okay, yeah, by default let me have master if it's not here. Yeah, and let me add plus here. So I mean this one more thing, you cannot have slash in the CDK name. So generally you also eliminate slashes and replace it with dashes or something else with it. But yeah, for now I'm just doing it like this. Then where exactly this branch name will come from, right? The CDK environment need to have that branch name, right? So that is also can be done by GitHub Actions. So let's ask Copilot. I forget about it. So I mean, let's ask Copilot. Okay. So how do I put branch name in environment variable of CDK? Okay, let's see. Okay. So it has given me something. Is it of use? Yeah, I guess it is. So, but I don't think so. This is of use. That is why I have kept it in a.
You need that like branch name.
Wait. I have it in a separate branch just for that sake. So, yeah. Okay. Let me check. So if I go here. Okay, ABCD. What exactly is branch? Yeah, let me have it branch. So I have it in all the branches. Okay, git stash, and yeah. So yeah, this is exactly what we need. This part. Yeah. So GitHub reference is basically. Let me ask Copilot also what exactly this means, so that you guys can get it. What is meant by, okay, so okay, so yeah, when you access GitHub reference, it is something like this. So the branch name is at the last. So what this does is basically like with this thing you can basically eliminate and just get the branch name. So this is exactly what we does. So I'm going to so I have actually checked out into a new branch. What is the branch? Yeah, branch is the branch. Okay. So here I have already done that. So the default branch and everything. So let me push this again. So or let me do first some changes here. So let me name it as let me name it as on the branch name branch. Now let me push it using this. Okay. 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 So this is going to push it there. Now if I go to actions, okay, it is still pushing, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So I have my GitHub actions again running. Let me also keep the previous action so that we can see that we have both of them alive at the same time. So if I go to this thing, CDK deploy. Yeah. So this was my master branch. Now, okay, I need to open GitHub again. Okay. Okay. Let me also check here what's happening here. So this was the bucket that I had before. Now let me refresh this. Okay. Okay, I guess those commands haven't ran yet. So that is why it is not complete. Let me also go to CloudFormation and see what's happening there. Okay. Okay, so I have a new stack here, as you guys can see, on the basis of the branch name, and that old stack is as it is. Now if I, so now if I go to my S3 again, okay, let me see. Yeah, so I have a new bucket here. So this is because I mean the name there is specific because here I have actually specified the name of the bucket here. Yeah, here is what I was talking about, replacing dash Yeah, replacing slash with dash. So yeah, this is what it is. Now, yeah, my GitHub action is going to run. In the meantime, I'll also tell you one more thing. So as I mentioned, like under the hood, like your AWS CDK uses CloudFormation. So when it is running synthesis, if I show you here, when I do CDK deploy, yeah, the first step it does synthesis. So what like this synthesis is, it builds your YML file, whatever you have for your like for your infra, into a actually CloudFormation file. So if I do CDK synth here, so it is actually going to give me that YML file here itself. So yeah, so this is what. So my entire code that I have here, if I would have replaced this with CloudFormation, this is what all I needed to do. So yeah, and managing this also is a very big headache, because suppose if your infra grows, like this is just an S3 bucket. Now imagine you have a Node.js environment, then you have Fargate clusters, you are going serverless, you have 100 of lambdas maybe. Yeah, so yeah, I have it ready now. Okay. So yeah, so I have both of them alive at the same time. So basically I can access both of them, because both of them are different stacks. So yeah, I think that's all from my side. Here's my Twitter if you want to ask anything. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
So basically, other than React.js, Next and all, can we use it for Flutter and all that?
So see, this is infra as code, right? Flutter is a mobile thing, right? So you can actually build it, and you can upload your.
My backend is into Node.js and Laravel.
So your backend you can basically deploy, because your backend you need to deploy. Their CI/CD supported, but for mobile it has a review process, right? So technically, and also there are some constraints on iOS. I know, because on some cases you cannot build iOS outside a Mac machine, I guess. So because I am from the mobile space, so I know it. So basically, you can build that infra, and you need to build that automation to push that onto App Store or Google Play Store. You need to connect with their APIs.
Different privacy policy for that.
Mm-hmm.
So is it different with this, or like?
I didn't get your question.
For iOS deployment, we usually use we have to create a different privacy policy for whatever we have inside the app.
So I mean, the initial release that you are doing, at that time you write the privacy policies, right?
That time, man, there's no.
I mean, you need to create a developer account, pay them money, right? Then create an app, right? So I mean, so all that you can obviously automate, GitHub Actions and something. So anything that you can run from, yeah.
मेरा point इसलिए था क्योंकि पहले से inform करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि मतलब iOS deployment जब.
So I mean, you can get the developer API keys from there. So I mean, if that is supported by iOS, you can technically do this with GitHub Actions. So I mean, how your release process in my mind will look like: if you have a monorepo, you have some Fargate cluster, or you might be using EC2 or something. Those infra, you spin it up with GitHub Actions. You have certain environment variables. Those environment variable need to be injected inside your front-end environment variable. Then your APK and iOS process, both of them should be executed. As soon as both of them get executed, it needs to go into your pipeline for the respective stores using the command. So basically, with like if you are using React Native, you have Expo. With that, you can basically build your stuff on the cloud also. So yeah, I mean, that depends upon your environment, what exactly you're doing. That is not relevant comparatively, because this is only relevant for something that you need to deploy to AWS. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Previously in the slide you showed that Spring Boot, and you said also that it is any backend can be done.
Yeah.
So does it supported by Spring Boot, because Spring Boot doesn't include the TypeScript files in it?
No. So see, your infra as code and your business logic code is different, right? So so first of all, CDK not only supports TypeScript, CDK supports all the languages, right? So sorry.
I can write in that information in YAML too.
So for YAML you can do it with CloudFormation. CDK you can write in TypeScript, Java, Python, all those languages. Plus, if your languages are different for CDK and your normal business logic, that is completely okay. because as I have shown you in the GitHub Actions file, okay, not here.
Yeah, there was you're using Node.
Yeah.
and
So
version.
I mean, so see, so my step from here to here, you know, that will be specific to your and but my process from here to here, these commands are specific to CDK, right? So those things are decoupled. So here I have a mono repo, right? Comparatively, think about it. You have a separate infra repo, and whenever someone pushing it, it is basically pulling it from there. GitHub Actions, you can actually also do it with multiple, repositories. That is also possible. I was just researching about it before this talk. So it is independent. Your infra as code is different. Your business logic code is different. It can be of multiple languages. That is okay. Anybody else? Yeah.
So the example you showed, it was creating a new S3 bucket
Mm-hmm.
every time.
Mm-hmm.
What if we want to create it only if it doesn't exist?
So it creates only when it doesn't exist. So basically, I created the S3 bucket for the first time. That is why it is creating it. Now, when I push the code again, it is not going to create another S3 bucket. So as I mentioned, your infra as code is basically what, not how. So I'm not telling CDK that I create an S3 bucket for me. I am telling CDK there is a S3 bucket. So CDK is going to manage under the hood that if there is not an S3 bucket, then it is not going to. So whenever I generate my CDK code, my CloudFormation templates get created. Then it does a diffing that what exactly was the infra that was there before, and what exactly is not there right now, and then it only executes the change set. It doesn't execute the entire thing again. So when I executed it the first time, you might have seen there was a plus icon on everything, right? So I mean, when I execute it again, if I delete some infra part or if I create something, I will only get those change sets here. So it is not going to create another S3 bucket. It created another S3 bucket because I asked it to. So basically, I showed you here. The stack, right? So this stack doesn't exist in my environment. When earlier I had just infra stack. Now I have infra stack plus branch name, right? So this stack didn't existed when I pushed it. So that is why I created a new CloudFormation template and then a new bucket for it.
Okay, so if you hadn't changed that part.
So if I change my infra name, stack name itself, then it is going to recognize it as a new stack. So now again it is going to create it. So technically, with CloudFormation also, it's very tough to create, like, destroy or rename your stack name. It's quite tough. So
Okay, so if you do it again now,
it won't create a S3 bucket. So if I do it again, all those processes is going to run and it's going to upload it into the same S3 bucket. Anybody else?
So can we use Terraform for that deployment purpose?
Yeah. So you can use Terraform. Oh, yeah. Terraform is an alternative. Terraform, Ansible, all those things. But the thing is, so Terraform is again there's a separate language, HC or something like that it uses, right? I want my general purpose programming language there in my infra. So that is why I like CDK. So Terraform is again that whole big file, right? It looks like CloudFormation and yeah. Anybody else? Okay, I think that's all.
Thank you.